Hey guys, this is Joe748 and we're back again with our co-hosts SD1. SD1, how you doing?
Living the dream, Joe. Living the dream.
What exactly is part of the dream? Can you describe your day?
Spending any bit of time with you pretty much encapsulates the dream, brother.
That's a great answer. Our guest today is BJA member GoFlamesGo. He joined the website in 2020 and then went to a bootcamp 1 month after he signed up for the website. And he did the test out and then basically went full time. So we just want to hear about your whole journey from signing up to going full time, ditching your job and all that good stuff. Give us a little background. How'd you get interested in Blackjack?
Yeah, 1 month into learning the running count, I went full time. That's the end of the podcast. We can turn it off now. Right on. Yeah, it was June 6th. I joined 2020, right in the middle of COVID there. Before I go into how I got into AP, guys, let me share with you a nightmare story, a horror story about my first encounter with a casino, right? Just to set the stage here. So anyone that knows sports or hockey in particular can probably guess what area I'm from. Anyway, so this is early on in my life. So this is, unlike the US, which is 21 to start drinking and gambling, it's 18 in our area. So right out of high school, fresh, a bunch of buddies and we always frequented this nightclub. It's like a rodeo bar, cowboy style. It was situated inside of a casino. So I guess it was inevitable that I would be introduced to the casino environment. It was one night. At this point, I didn't do any gambling at all. It's not like I was just itching to turn 18. I can't wait to get in there and start hitting the tables. No, it was none of that. But you can't even get to the entrance of this nightclub without walking past all the slot machines and tables and what have you. So at this point, I didn't know anything about gambling, but it was the game of roulette, the brutal game of roulette. That's the one that interested me, not the slot machines with their bright colors and sound. It was the roulette. So one drunken night, I guess I lost all my friends, it was one of those, going to stumble home. Or I figured, you know what, let's Hail Mary this. Let's give this a shot. Had $200 in my wallet. Walked up to one of those electronic roulette machines, the ones with, it's a real wheel, but you place your bets on a screen. I figured, let's empty the clip here. Put in the $200, and I think it was $5 denomination chips, and I stupidly just put all in one spin. I kind of surrounded superstitiously my favorite hockey players, number 12, and lo and behold, you can guess, it hit. Okay, and at the age of 18, 19, the number that flashed across the screen was just unbelievable at the time. It was like $4,000. So I walked home like a king, thinking I'm a god. I just took down the casino. Anyway, the crux of the story is this. The next morning I wake up, text from all my buddies. I guess I drunkenly texted them the night before how it went, like how much I won when I lost them. They were like, that's amazing. Let's go back to the casino today. Let's go back and win another 4,000. I proceeded over the span of 2 or 3 hours the very next day. We went back to lose everything, and then some more of my own money. So that was just my intro to casinos, and ever since then I had a chip on my shoulder. I wanted to get them back. So I guess you can fast forward now to more recent time, and it was 2020, March 2020, when I'm not sure how it was where you guys were living, but it was a ghost town in my area of Canada. You were supposed to be quarantining the entire time. The only thing open were grocery stores and the hospital, basically. So what do I do? Like many other podcasters I've heard, they came across the YouTube videos and just got hooked. Started watching all the free content and just got hooked from there. This was back in March, and I guess I joined in June 2020.
What was it that triggered your brain to be like, that was just luck, I need to learn how to actually beat them? What was the bridge there?
Ever since then, like I've been smart enough to understand the casinos are not built from charity, okay? They're not built from winning players. There's some kind of a trick. There's some kind of a, like, what's the catch, right? And I understand, you look into it, you understand the house edge is a small percentage, and over time it builds, and that's how the casino makes money. So it just, over time, it starts making sense to you that these casinos are not built from people putting $200 on number 12.
So you practiced a ton at home. You went to boot camp. So then what happened at boot camp and then what happened right after?
First, I was actually practicing on the Card Counter Lite app. I don't know if any of you guys know that one. It has like red felt, and it was a straight running count app. Like you just practice the cards flash across the screen, and that's kind of where that was my first like any kind of training. I mean, I knew a little basic strategy just from other visits to casino, but obviously the first thing I should have learned clean is basic strategy. But it was the Card Counter Lite app. That was the beginning of my training.
When you open it up on the app, is that the one that says "Welcome to Card
Whoa.
Counter"?
Yeah. I think it is something like that. It has the red felt. You can't miss it. And
I accidentally opened that up in a casino once. It's a good little app.
Yeah, it's a pure running count. It's a great app for running counts because once there's the challenge mode and it just deals all the hands and like every hand will hit until 17. Doesn't matter what the deal is. Like you're not making any decisions, right? It's just weird. It's pure running count. So it's actually a great tool for the running count. But yeah, I'm digressing a bit here. Yeah, I joined June 6, 2020, and then I just devoured the video course. Like I made sure like I watched each video one by one and wouldn't start the next video until I understood fully what happened in the previous video, right? I mentioned to Joe, there's sometimes I see questions on the forum or whatever. It's like from users, if you just watch the video, you wouldn't be asking this question. And it's so important. The video course is so important to make sure you pay attention fully because really everything is in there. Maybe not all the art of card counting, but the technical part is all in there. You can learn a lot from that. So it's very important.
Nichols is going to be very happy that you just said that. He's constantly saying, have you watched the video course? Have you gone through it?
Yeah, it is really important. And I mean, I went through 4 years in university, but I really had to force myself through some of these courses. Like it was dragging on and I really had to force myself to study and pass and get the degree. With the video course, for me, it was just automatic. I enjoyed every video so much, right? So it's really well made, but it's as fun as it was, it's super important to pay attention to every single detail. You leave one little thing out, your game has a massive hole.
So how much did you start off with?
I had a mild 5-figure bankroll. It wasn't anything too high, but I was playing games. I calculated about risk of ruin at the beginning was not something you want to go full time with. It was about 5 to 7%, not high 5-figure, but I think I had like 20 to 25 to start. And it was replenishable. I was working full time in the office job there. So
After boot camp, what was that like? You did well in your test out, and then was it just off to the races, or was there?
yeah, I remember like the trip for the boot camp. That was Las Vegas. I had 3 straight Vegas trips, one after the other. It was actually my second Vegas trip where I attended the boot camp. I went back right away. So my first one was early July, and then I came back right back. So I went back to Canada and then went right back to Vegas. So yeah, I was already playing, but I felt really confident in my game, especially out on the training suite, just getting perfect. At this point, I had the basic deviations down. I didn't have any of the expanded, anything like that. But I truly believed I had a winning game, and the test out at the boot camp. I mean, it's only one shoe, right? Anything could happen, but it really gave me a lot of confidence. So I just kept going. Yeah, kept hammering away in Vegas.
So you're married, right?
Yes, sir. Married and 3 kids.
3 kids. Okay.
3 kids.
When Mr. GoFlamesGo says, I'm going to be at the casino, how does the family take that?
My wife is the type, like she's so sweet. She'll support me no matter what. Okay, I could tell her I'm going to do something awful, like start dealing drugs. Maybe no, just kidding. But she really does support me no matter what. So she saw how serious I was about it, and like she could tell how passionate I was when I talked about it, even though it probably went through one ear out the other for her. But she's just her number one thing is how supportive she is. So it's great. Different members of the family, some of them are a little still skeptical, and that's okay. I mean, I'm gambling full time with a family. Like it doesn't sound very good at first, hearing that, but overall, I have the support of my family, and I think it's great.
After about 600 hours, it seemed like that's when you quit your full-time job. What was that conversation like, where it was like, hey, I'm going to quit, play blackjack full-time?
I had a conversation both obviously with my family and with work. Those are 2 different stories, but yeah, like with the family, it's still a little nerve-wracking, of course, for my wife. She's like, are you sure you're going to do this? Like, I could tell, very supportive, but she didn't want to say, but I could feel some apprehension there. Just little worried. We have at the time when we had two kids. So like right now I have a baby. She was born in November. So at the time when I went full time, I had two kids. So that's a lot to deal with. You're supporting a family. So, but very supportive. It was actually her mom, my mother-in-law, was a little more. She put a bit of a scene. She was freaking out on me a little bit. Like she's saying, if you can go to the casino and beat the casino, don't you think everyone would do that? Like, and then I told her, well, go ahead and try it. It's not like that. Trust me, this works. Doesn't matter if I showed her my past results. I had, yeah, exactly 600 hours of part-time play. The chart looked great, but you can't blame someone that just doesn't understand it, right? So, yeah. Overall, though, with my wife, who was the most important person to get the approval from, she supported me from day one.
How old are your kids?
So yeah, my oldest, he's 5 years old, and then in the middle, I got two girls, 3, and just a baby, born in November. Hands are full, but so like it's all props to my wife. She takes care of them while I'm on the road, and it's just wild. So yeah, everything to her.
I mean, that's a lot, and all being young kids. So let's talk about that more. That step into full time, because I've talked about this many times, and the question is often asked, like, if you have this regular full time job that's really good, and we don't need to rehash what I've said. I'm just curious about like advice from your perspective, because that's a lot of responsibility, especially with young kids. Absolutely. And a wife.
Yeah.
So take us through that decision-making process to go from having a full-time job with benefits, and I'm sure it paid a pretty solid income. So yeah, talk about that.
Absolutely. And it is so important. I had a great job. It paid the bills. I mean, it wasn't some crazy high salary work, but it was work, and it definitely paid the bills. It was a comfortable job, but to be honest, it's you live once, and I really wanted to make an adventure out of any point in life, right? So I'm from an accounting background. So one thing that did help me make the decision to step away from full-time work and go full-time is just knowing that with my resume and then my degree, I do have something I can fall back on. I'm quite confident that the area I come from, my line of work, I would be able to find a job if shit hit the fan, and not too long of a period of time. So that was one of the most important things for me, just having something that I believe and confident in myself that I could find work just like that.
That 600 hours before you made the jump, how much do you remember how much you were up at that point about?
My EV, I was a bit below EV. My total EV for that time was 42,200. So I was averaging $70 an hour EV. AV was it was a bit lower, it was 34. So I was a bit below, but that's how it goes, swings up and down. But overall, it was great. We're just watching the chart. And after 600 hours, I mean, it's not long run, but it's a pretty decent amount of hours to see that something's working here.
Okay, so then you took the 30-ish thousand. Is that all you used for the bankroll going forward as a full-time player?
Yeah, like the 30 that I won there. So of course, some of it is going to, even though I was part-time, I'm working, but some of it was spent on whatever else, maybe blackjack expenses and stuff. But yeah, it all went back into the bankroll. And it was towards the end of my part-time, I guess, when I decided to go full-time, that I reached out to a family member, my dear father, about this, who was the most excited about what I'm doing. He was, out of all my family members, he was the most supportive and the most excited about what I'm doing. I wrote a giant letter to him, big letter to him, explaining everything. I showed him my results. I showed him how much I love doing what I'm doing, and I asked him for could I get a loan? Like, could I get a loan to really do some real damage? Because the amount that I had at the time, you can play. I mean, you can make 70 an hour average EV, but I'm not going to go full time with the amount that I had, right? And it's one bad swing, you can't support a family. But I asked him, and I wrote a giant letter explaining everything and asking for a loan, and he came through. He injected an amount that I believed was perfect for full-time play. So much of this is just thanks to my father for believing in me and giving me this step up. And I mean, I 100% respect to every card counter that grinded from nothing to build their 6-figure bankroll. For me, and my father helped so much. But with that said, I made sure to put the work in. I worked as hard as I can. I showed him that this works, and I showed him results, and I promised him that the any bankroll that is given to me is going to be used for blackjack only. I'm not going to be messing around. And after some time, he followed through, and it wasn't even a loan. He gave it to me, and right when I went full time, it's funny, I never even had to dip into the amount. It's good to have the what he gave me is, I was able to up my spread immediately to a professional size spread. But if you look at the actual numbers, it never dipped into what he gave me. But still, it's because of him to give me the be able to play with zero risk and generate the EV that I do. So all kudos to my father. So it really is my dad and my wife that allow me to be where I am today. But I will say the work that I put in needs to be noticed too. I take full passion in this, and I'm really truly having the time of my life.
I think it seems like kind of a theme. I mean, that's my personal experience too. My dad just thought it was the coolest thing and was really supportive. And
Yeah.
mom just kept saying, "Oh, honey, just be careful. Like, just be
Yes,
careful, be
exactly.
safe." She doesn't
Exactly.
completely understand that. Joe, I know you've
Yeah.
shared like how your mother reacted directly to it too. I just think it's the difference between a mom and a dad, but
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
really, really cool.
My dad now, he fully believes in the math. He understands how it works. The number one thing about him now is he truly is worried about my safety. Like, think about what we do. We're walking around, we're from Canada, right? But we're going all over the US, and I'm carrying crazy amounts of cash, right? So as happy as he was to help me on this journey, I feel like that's grown on him a little bit, the fact that of how dangerous this can be. So I had to point that out.
What was the hardest thing for you specifically about playing full time versus doing it on the side?
I made sure when I'm setting my bet spread and everything, I keep risk at zero, right? So I had enough hours under my belt already. It's not like he gave me this. I had this massive bankroll with zero experience. I had enough experience to understand that the swings do exist. They're going to happen, and of course, I ran simulations. I ran simulations to see what I can expect with the swings and the bet spread that I play. So I was prepared for it. So right from the get go, I was able to play confidently without worrying about losses, and losses happen. I mean, at the beginning, I did have positive variance, which is why I never dipped into the additional roll, but they happened. The losses happened, and right from there, I was never too worried about it. I never really choked up about it. I just kept going.
So there was never a point where you were like, "Oh shit, I shouldn't have done this."
Bankroll wise and playing the game, no, it's been great. There have been times being lonely on the road. So just thousands of miles away from your family, your kids. You miss them. Like, they grow every day at that age, like, noticeably, right? And just being away and feeling a bad loss. Like, I mean, the losses happen, but just like after a brutal losing session, you're in the motel, in some old cheap motel, even though you have like wads in your pocket, you can get whatever, but you're so far from home, and you feel lonely, and you feel like you could be with them right now. Instead, you're just getting battered at the blackjack table. So little things like that was the toughest part about starting out full time and really doing this nonstop on the road.
Well, from all of us card counters, that all of us that started off losing,
Yes,
we say
yes.
we feel really bad for you.
Yeah. Exactly. So I truly don't have much to complain about. I've been fortunate in every way. So
Speaking of family and balancing that, how did you balance like the time, budget the time? Like how many days was your max of being away for?
would try to not extend the trips for too long. I've had a couple over the last year that were quite long. I reached the 4 week, 5 week mark, but my average trip I would keep to maximum 10 to 14 days. And then when I come home, it's just that much better to see my family and kids. And then it's kind of a trade-off. While every other kid's parents are at work during the day, I'm able to spend all day with them at such a young age.
Really important. Talk about your perspective on the difference between playing in Canadian land and the US.
It's not terribly different for me. I know the US has a lot better games. Penetration is a big problem in many areas that I've played. I haven't played everywhere in Canada, but the main areas I played, Alberta and Ontario, it's just the pen is the number one killer. I find it can be really bad. Just two decks cut off of six, like two and a half sometimes, and it's just awful. I feel they're more. I'm not sure if they're more tolerant or they're just not as accustomed to seeing card counters come through, so they're not quick on alert. Overall, it's that's the trade off. So really bad pen, which just kills the game. Pen is the most important thing. But I'm able to get long hours in Canada where I have played.
I mean, they could be because they cut off so much that they don't need to worry about you guys as much. I had a friend, he was like, gave me a game to go to somewhere in like far away in Canada. And he said, yeah, have at it. I mean, the N0 is like 800 hours, but they're going to let you play all day, every day for 5 months if you want it.
Yeah.
I had a dealer in the Winnipeg area in the middle of winter. This is when I was a part-timer, and I was there for a conference and just looked up like I normally did, casinos around. And I walk up to the table, and he just recognizes that I'm an American, and he immediately starts talking about card counting and how, we love card counters. We have no issues with them. We'll let you play as long as you want. We have one of the best blackjack games in Canada. We have all these great rules. And then I look at the 6-deck game, and they're cutting off 3 decks. And I'm like,
three decks.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And that was before
I'm
you
sure
were playing,
you do.
so.
You do
Yeah,
welcome card counters to play.
It's awful. And so just in the US, like I said, it's just you can find such juicy games, but you got to travel. Overall, I'm not saying there are some nice juicy games in Canada that I know of with delicious pen, but as a general statement, it is just not good.
It's also just like so much more driving up there.
It is. Like in the Toronto area, there's one in the city, and the rest are all surrounding. So yeah, tons of driving. It's not like obviously not like Vegas, but like even other American cities, like you said, they're a lot closer.
Can you explain a little bit about how we have some of your stats here? Looking over your stats, it seems like you've gotten a ton of hours like within a short time frame. Like, what do you think contributes to you getting those hours down? What's the secret?
I track every back off. It's part of my spreadsheet. So I'm able to see kind of an average over some time, how many back offs per number of hours. And recently, even though I've been upping my bet spread now that the bankroll has been growing even more, I've noticed that I get more hours. I'm not sure. Like, don't get me wrong, back offs still absolutely come, but they're coming way less frequently than I would imagine, especially after ramping up my bets. So I don't know exactly what is the reason for this, but my guess is with all this practice I have of actually sitting there and counting and betting and using your brain with your deviations, you're able to act a lot. That becomes more autopilot, more automatic, and you're just able to focus more of your energy on just not so much your act, but just your presence at the table. You're cool. You're lean back. You're not watching the cards like completely stiff like that. You're a lot more relaxed at the table, and you're liked at the table. I find that when I'm sitting at the table, I make friends with everyone, the other players, if there are, even though I try to play heads up as often as possible. Other players, others, like even dealers at other tables. I'm loud, I'm fun. So I think that helped a lot. Like maybe if a back off was to come, or if they suspected something of me for the pit boss to make a call up to surveillance to watch me, they just delay it. So I just find that table presence is absolutely huge. But of course, this is not something that you can just turn on. It's not a switch on and off when you're a new player. It comes with time, right? Like, so over time, you get comfortable with the actual playing, where you can use your energy more to just looking comfortable and kind of blending into the casino environment, being just another loud floppy at the table.
Yeah, SD1 can definitely speak to that. So
it makes me so happy to hear you say a couple things. Automation first, perfect game.
Yes,
everything else comes after that. It's great.
Yeah, and I remember taking the advice of Colin and you guys when I was first starting. I would be, when you're first at the table, like I would make sure like that my running count, like I would take before any cards are dealt, and it's the whole table's watching me. I will make sure the count is right in my head, and I will think through it. What's the right decision, and go. I mean, you could argue that maybe I'm not ready for the casino at this point, but when I started, I made sure that I was playing perfectly. I didn't care. So my act was definitely no good. There was no act. There was no table presence. It was pure robotic. But yeah, over time, it evolves and you become better with more experience.
Do they ever ask you after seeing your ID, Like why you're in the country or what you're doing? Like, what's your usual story?
In the US, no, not really. It's not one of the first things I will say. I try, but it's the accent. The first question I always get, especially when I play in Vegas, are you from Minnesota? Like, I guess people from Minnesota sound like me. My default is to play unrated, so I don't usually give ID. And then when I do, it's just on vacation or passing through. Never really been an issue there.
Yeah, the Minnesota accent is as Canadian near as you can get.
Yeah, I guess so.
They're not as nice as you guys, though. All Canadians are nice. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know about that. I've had some pretty mean casino personnel in Canada, but
What happened there?
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like I said, it's because it's not as common. I find Vegas, in my experience, has been the most polite just because there's so many card counters pass through that it's just becomes routine. Like sometimes it's as little as just a few words. Okay, hey, no more blackjack. Thank you, bye. It's just quick. But in Canada, once they realize that you're what you're doing, and especially if you're a repeat offender, they yell at you and scream at you in certain places where it's completely unneeded. So yeah, just a few. But overall, Canada, yeah, we are. We're polite. We're nice people.
Are they just yelling at you like, we told you not to come back here, like that kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. Like one place, like, they have the exact dates laid out. Like we backed you off this date, we backed you off on this date. So yeah, like you're back here, and it's like as if at that point, yeah, they did tell me to stop playing. So then I eventually did get the trespass at this one area, but that's fair. It's been like third or fourth repeat comeback. So I've had rude backoffs everywhere, not just in Canada, but yeah, overall we're nice people.
You've had these rude interactions. Obviously, every card counter experiences this stuff. Most APs have at some particular junction in their career. Yet, your view of the casinos seems to be a little bit on the easier side than what
Yes.
I would think or maybe Joe would
Yes.
think, which I think they're just pure evil.
Yes.
You do not.
I do not. For me, they exist, and it really is. It is what it is. I don't see any time in the near future casinos disappearing. So yes, what they do, the way they suck people in, they give them all these freebies. Meanwhile, they're taking all their money and they can ruin lives. I completely understand that. But the way I kind of view things is these casinos are going to exist. It is what it is. So control what you can control. And there's nothing wrong with that mentality, the us versus them mentality. It's a great one to have, and lots of pros and legends like yourselves. You guys have been very successful with that. For me, I started with that kind of mentality. I'm going to war every day. I'm a warrior. I'm going to fight and bring down the casino. And it's great to have that mentality. But I found it started to kind of seep into my mental health there. I was getting, losing energy, just yelling at them on backoffs. I was rude on backoffs. I was very hostile back towards them. And I just found for myself personally, it was counterproductive. It didn't help me in any way. I want to save my energy to rack up as many hours as possible. I'm a full timer. That's what's most important. I will save my energy. I'm going to go into the casino. I'm going to play the game that they offer. And once they ask me to stop, I'm out. There's no point in me, putting up a fight or anything like that. And so I guess it's a boring way to look at it, but I'm here for business. I'll play the game they offer, get the money, and walk out. Or sometimes get slaughtered and walk out.
I don't think it's a boring way to look at it. And I actually agree with the perspective that what you just said. The employees that work at a casino, most of them are just moms, dads, people
Exactly.
working and doing a job. There are certain roles in a casino that lend themselves to being evil, like hosts, the executives, etc. Their primary job is literally just to turn you upside down and shake every penny out of your pocket. That is their goal. Make no mistake about it. But yeah, I think that's a healthy perspective to go in there, because I think it can definitely change your mindset and make you more angry. I think for me, and I think Joe, he uses this word all the time. He always says, it's just so annoying. It's so frustrating because when they act hostile towards you, it's just like, why? Like, I'm not going to do this. Why are you doing this? Let's just be pleasant. Tell me not to play, and it'd be fine. But it just doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's what I do. Sometimes I'll get the super rude or really hostile, back off, and I'll just almost kill them with kindness. Shake their hand if they want to shake my hand back, and thank you for letting me play. I walk out because for me, they offered a game. I'm gonna go play the game, and then I'll walk out. It's really that. That's all it is for me. So if they're trying to make me feel bad, or they're raising their voices, acting like a tough guy, I'll laugh it off, and it does not affect me in the slightest. It's out the door and off to the next casino for me, because this is work, this is business, and I take it seriously.
Was there a moment where they said something and you tried and tried to be patient, but it just wasn't, like, you just lost your cool?
Definitely earlier in my play, when I kind of had more of that mentality, the warrior mentality. Yeah, just like not cashing my chips, for example, like trying to get my ID out of me. Just yeah, there was been times I definitely lost my patience. Yell at them, but nothing really significant. No, I try to keep my cool as much as possible, because they're more likely to just pay you out and let you go if you're just as calm as possible. So I haven't had any issues where I really had lost my control, lost my cool. So far so good, but who knows what the future holds.
Can you sort of walk us through what a typical day on the road looks like for you, for people who are maybe thinking about going full time? Like, what does a week look like for you?
Yeah, my trips, I guess I'll break it what I do before going on a trip. I'll plan out the area I'm going. I'll always look on the 411 map and plan my route and my attack. So first, before I actually even go on the trip, obviously I book my flights and everything that's needed, flights and rental car. Those are the first two things. And I do have some players cards around the country, so I make sure to scope it out and see if I can get any comp rooms before I even leave Canada, before I make my way there. I just like I have this one property, this chain of properties. It's just endless. Anytime I can just log on. I don't know how it's possible. I log on and I just go to offers, and then you just book your hotel room for free. It's unbelievable. I don't know what causes why I'm able to do this. So that's really helped so far. But yeah, I plan first flight, rental car, and then I make sure I have a place to stay. And then yeah, go on the trip. And I always try to get a certain amount of hours on the trip. A good trip for me is 5 hours per day or more. That's what I consider a really successful trip. So yeah, wake up in the morning, try to eat a decent breakfast. I can talk about later what I do for food on the road. But yeah, make sure you eat, drink lots of water, and then I head out, start playing, take breaks through the day, and then I'm able to come to the motel room and relax at the end of the day, watch some TV and update my results. I make sure I update my Excel spreadsheet every single day. So everything is tracked to the penny, all my expenses and all my winnings. And yeah, it's like clockwork, and it's just so much fun for me to be on the road. But I don't want to boast about it too much, because my wife is at home dealing with the three kids while I'm out here. So even though I am working, I guess some peace and quiet. But that's kind of a glimpse into it.
Will you plan your schedule around the hockey schedule?
How did you know? I absolutely do that. I absolutely do that. Like the NHL schedule just released. One of my favorite things is watching Flames games away from home, like in opposite arenas. So if I'm going on trips, and this is not just for hockey games, I love, killing two birds, three birds, four birds with one stone, making a trip out of it. So like there's been times I actually brought my family along on a trip. We went to Disneyland, and then I was able to play the Palm Springs area before that. So yeah, I always try to look for other things to do as well. But of course, when I go by myself, there really is not a lot of sightseeing. It's grinding, which sometimes I feel kind of bad. I went to a nice area, and then all I did was play in the smoky, dumpy casinos. But I'm here to make money, and then other trips when I go with my family, I can do a little more chill stuff and not always be at the table. So yes, I absolutely plan around hockey games. Vegas is always fun. That arena is electric. So definitely been there for a game and then played the area. Rinse and repeat. That's Vegas.
So, on that note, any tips, tricks, or things as you've evolved in your career that you would suggest to maintain that healthy mindset, like overall, especially in a high stakes environment?
When you come home or to your motel room after, just breathe, take a breath, and understand what you're doing. And in the moment, even right now, big, massive losses, losing max bet after max bet, it takes a toll on you. But I'm always able to recharge, go back to the motel room, play some music, hang out, watch TV. Sometimes I pull up my chart and just look at my blackjack results from my entire career. And see that I've built this, I did this along the way, and it's going to keep going. It's going to keep going. Just put your head down and work. So I have a pretty good workaholic sense in blackjack, where I'm able to just go, and then whenever there's a doubt, I just look at the results of my past, and I'm able to keep going.
Has there been a place yet you've been to on these trips where they just let you play and play and play for the whole entire trip and you didn't get a back off?
Yes, and I found different areas around the U.S. Many people have mentioned it. I know Vernon has mentioned it, how it's not just variance with the money, it's variance whether you're going to get time in. And sometimes it truly leaves me puzzled. I'll leave aside, like, how were they letting me play? You just never know. That's why I don't care about cover. I admire your view with that as well. Just go and play your game. You'll be amazed at how long you can play sometimes. I mean, sometimes you're not going to be able to even place one bet, but other times you'll just play forever. And I mean, other things come in, factor in. Like, I was in an area playing just the juiciest six deck I've ever seen. They were micro cutting it, and I was just getting slaughtered. Yeah, it was like less than half a deck cut, six decks, no heat, and I was just playing nonstop. But the reason is because I got clobbered right off the bat. Like, I think in the first shoe or two, I probably almost five figures down, which is weird. I had to CTR eventually. I'm definitely in databases. We know that. And I'm still just able to play. It makes no sense sometimes. I have no answer. All I know is that you go out, you play your game, you don't worry about anything, and miracles happen and great stuff happens while you're on the road.
Well, I think that's a misconception that a lot of people have. I'm going to go back to my phrasing that casinos are stupid because, right, you CTR'd. They obviously had no inclination that you were an AP, that you were counting. The CTR event, they still have to go, okay, I'm going to take this information and I'm going to look him up. So they just didn't take that next step.
They didn't. I was spreading absolutely wild. I'm talking like $10, one hand of 10 to just two of like table max there. If anyone watched even for 2 minutes, you could tell. But I guess it's just because I lost right off the bat. And even though I gave ID, you just never know what's going through the mind of surveillance. Maybe they're sleeping. You have no idea. It is seriously unpredictable. Every time I walk into a casino, I understand that anything can happen. And sometimes it's in reverse. You walk in to an area you've never been. Before you even sit down, you were being asked to leave because they saw you on camera, like with facial recognition. So it really is. But overall, it averages out to me being able to play on average 100 hours plus a month of blackjack full time at high stakes. And it's been a ride so far. And I don't see an end in sight.
That spread makes Joe swell with pride.
Yeah. Right when I heard one spot of $10, I knew where that was going. Someone in surveillance told us at one of the boot camps that just because they're subscribed to a certain database or something, you'd be shocked at like how many subscribers are not actually active users on it as well. Like, they're subscribed to it, but they don't even reference it. So I think in that case, yeah, it was totally just the loss at the beginning, and that's kind of all they're going on.
And that's it, right? Like, they see big loss, and I don't know if they were even watching how I was playing for that, but there was a big loss from the beginning, all the buy-ins, one after the other, and I was just able to play. It was actually an area where they can't back you off, but I never got countered. It really blew my mind. But I absolutely got wrecked on that trip. So that's how it goes. An amazing game, and you get wrecked. So I guess that's why they just kept letting me play and letting me play.
Have you been back there?
Not since this time, but this was pretty recent. But I plan on going right back there. That was one of the juiciest games I've ever seen.
I heard you were panhandling in the casino.
Yeah, I was going to start panhandling, apprenticeship.com. Yeah, that was I don't know. I mean, it was obviously a template form, trespass form that they used, but like, come on, just say what I actually did. Jeez. It was a form. You guys mind if I pull it up? I'm just going to read it real quick, okay? And I know another user, they got the exact same form as me. On this date, blah, 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 you were involved in a panhandling, ticket punching, vandalism, or similar incident at this and this casino. According to the policy set forth, blah, 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 a determination has been made by our management team that you will be ejected indefinitely. And then that's it. So this is a trust, and they have my name and they have my date of birth. So this is one casino that I probably will not go back for a long time. Probably ever. It wasn't a tribal, but it was. I mean, they have my name. I don't want to push it, and they actually have my name. It was through facial recognition, so I never gave my ID here. They called me out by name after a few hours. I definitely got a few hours there, but then they gave me this form. There's nothing to sign. They just gave it to me and I left. But yeah, that's one of the funny backups that I've definitely had.
You should go back with a cardboard cutout and write down looking for 6-deck shoe with half a deck cut off.
Yeah, so then they for sure can't get me for panhandling. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
Panhandling a good game.
Yeah, I couldn't. I didn't even have a chance to ask them about it because I just took it and I assumed it was a regular trespass form. I walked out, but I should have asked them, like, seriously, this is what you guys gave me?
That's so weak. Like, that is so weak.
Yeah, yeah, panhandling, ticket punching. I don't even know what's that.
I think it's when you're kicking out, like when somebody leaves like 5 cents on a slot.
Panhandling, ticket punching, vandalism, or similar incident. So then I guess everything falls under or similar incident. So that's why they gave you that. Still so ridiculous.
What other fun stories do you have? You have anything else that comes to mind?
Yeah. No, I've actually been lucky. I've heard some great backup stories from, listening to podcasts. I've been lucky. I haven't had too many ridiculous backups. Most of mine have been quite just the regular, some of them rude, but some of them, for the most part, it's just regular backups. But I do have one I'll share with you guys. I can say where I was going. So I was in the Vegas area and I was doing the old 500-mile drive northwest to the great city of Reno. I left in the late afternoon, so it was definitely late when I arrived. I was tired, long drive. And I guess I was homeless. I didn't have a place to stay yet, but I always have, the Expedia app to book the cheapest motel. Anyway, I figured, you know what? There is one casino in the Reno area that I did get a player's card. I remember early on in my career, I got a player's card there so I could kind of use, because I knew I'd be back to Reno. It's a pretty good place to play. But I'd kind of use Reno, this hotel, as like my home base where I would have a place to stay and then I could attack aggressively around the other casinos. Anyway, so I went back there, arrived after a long 7-hour drive, super tired. I could pass out at any moment. But I figured, you know what? Let me see if I can run some magic here. I walked up to their super juicy double deck game and I thought, I already have a player's card. What if I sit down here? We'll put $100 chip just, way above the table min in front of the pit boss and immediately right before I even finish one hand, ask for a free room. Let's see if I can get a comped couple nights so I can finally go to sleep. So she sees me place the $100 bet. I can't even remember if I actually played that hand or when she walked away. I definitely switched it back to the table min, $10, whatever it was. But I made sure she see me put down the $100 chip and I immediately bugged them. That's in the whole other lesson. You can talk to the pit boss and just ask for free stuff if you have a player's card. But anyway, I did that and she's like, okay. So he walks away, gets on the phone. And then about maybe not even like 2 double deck shoes later, I get the tap on the shoulder. I'm like, oh God, here we go. Turn around and it's a very nice host. She's like, hello, sir. I heard you were looking for a room with us. Yes, baby, go ahead. I've already set you up for 2 nights. So at this point, any smart person or any decent would call it quits right then and there because I was tired. It was a long drive. Maybe I shouldn't even be playing right now with the condition I'm in. I'm tired. But any person would just call it quits and then go up to the room and sleep and get back to work the next day, right? Like if I could go back, that's what I would do. But I, of course, the person that I am, the player, it was just too juicy. Okay, it's heads up. It's a great hour. It doesn't look like there's any heat. And of course, I overstay my welcome. Probably 45 minutes in, so I still get lots of action in 45 minutes of double deck heads up. I get not even the tap on the she just barges. It was the casino manager, just right to the pit, just screams at me, "Sir, you are trespassed. You're done here. You're done here. Get out." So I was like, I didn't even want to mention the room that I already got. I've already been given a room. So I quietly just walked out of the casino entrance and I kind of waited in my car for a few minutes. And then so I can enter the hotel entrance and go up to my room. So that's what I did, hoping that they wouldn't see me. Go up to my hotel room and not even 5 minutes in being in there. They called, the phone rang loudly at an ungodly hour that it was. And it's her screaming on the phone again, "I didn't know they gave you 2 rooms after all that. I'm gonna have to ask you to leave immediately. And I was like, seriously? Like they gave me the room for 2 nights. You can't tell me to leave now. And she's like, I sure can. And then after some bickering back and forth, she fine, you know what? I'll let you stay the night, but you're out first thing in the morning. So it was just an uncomfortable sleep because I'm sleeping on trespass property. I don't know like what time the security guard is gonna barge into my room. I did sleep because I actually really was tired, but I set the alarm for probably like 7 or 8 a.m. and I got the hell out of there.
That's
So
awesome.
That's actually really nice that they
Yeah,
let you
really
stay, at
nice
least.
of them.
yeah, because I heard other, we know the story of someone getting kicked out of their room with their family. So happy that didn't happen to me, but let me share the one. This is not a backup story. This is just a funny story playing at a in a pretty sketchy town. I made this post. People can read it. It's the post is titled "Give Me My Fucking Money Back." Not sure if you guys were able to read this, but I'm playing in a pretty sketchy city. Like you do not want to be outside. You want to be under the safe, camera view and security guards inside the casino. It was also an ungodly hour of the night that I'm playing, so it wasn't completely dead, even though it was like close to graveyard shift. There was definitely players inside, and so I'm sitting at a table, and to my right is this really loudmouth, intimidating woman. Like she was, I think she said she was in real estate or something. She was splashing big towers of chips on both her main bet and like hundreds on her side bet. I forgot what it was, perfect pairs or whatever it was. It's just her and I at the table, and she was an intimidating woman. So I was just barely on her good side. So we're playing and we're just destroying a shoe. The count is awesome through the entire shoe. I got my max bets out pretty much for probably starting from the 3 deck point, and just we're hammering away at the shoe, and she's also placing big towers on both. Yeah, perfect pairs and her main circle. So it's coming to the end. The dealer was cutting 1 deck perfectly. So it's definitely, I'm looking at discard trade, definitely last round here. So we're placing still max bet territory. It was juicy, and just out of nowhere, this chump just comes and joins on our left. So I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle seat. She's at first base, and there's no one at third base. So he comes out of nowhere. If I was playing solo, I would just kind of pretend to be the regular gamble. Oh, can you please wait? The shoe's almost done, whatever, so I can just have more of the cards for myself. But I knew I wouldn't need to do it. Like this girl would absolutely scream at him, and she did. Like I just knew I didn't have to say anything. It was her, and she's just like, oh hell no, we're on fire here. Get out of here. I guess he was watching. I didn't see where he came from, if he was standing behind. He could see that we were winning, like just hand after hand after hand. And then he comes in, didn't listen to her, like just completely ignores, even though she told him, like, don't come in. He had a $500 free bet voucher. He had $300 in that he was going to cash in for. He was going to place an $800 bet just because of how hot he believed the shoe was, right? So out come the cards here. I have it. I'm just reading my post here. So homegirl to our right receives some nondescript poor hand, like a hard 14 or 15, whatever. I receive a juicy 20 and 8, so 10-10 and 8-8. And our grumpy new friend to our left receives a beautiful 10-10 himself. So we both have 20s. So the yellow cut card has been drawn. The dealer shows us her lousy 4. So it's looking good, looking good. Running count is plus 14, less than a deck played. So this is action time for me with my hands. So first to act, I wrote Medusa to our right, snap waves are shitty. I split my 8s, I received faces on each. I said that's decent but boring. My 10s are next to act. And at this point, the dealer's already got her hand on her up card on her 4 ready to flip, thinking that my 20 is going to pass, his 20 is going to pass. But I'm like, no, ma'am, not today. I push out another tower of blacks and I flash the scissors. The girl on my right, who I believe just barely included me in her good books, now looked like she wanted to kill me. And do I even need to describe the look Al Pacino on my left was giving me? I could already barely contain my laughter. I'm begging the blackjack gods for just give me another face card on my severed 10 so I can dig my grave deeper with my 2 best pals over here. Sadly, it's just an 8 on the first 10, so I wave it. But on the second 10, I receive the only card that could outdo my original wish for another 10. Any guess what that could be, guys?
The ace.
The mighty ace to give me an automatic 21. Now, at this point, I was purely impressed that the dealer didn't just instantly flip her whole card, right? Like, What else is there to do? She knows this guy's not going to split his tens, or was there? But wait, there's more. The classic infomercial line flashed past me as I rip out another stack of blacks to double my soft 21, putting me basically all in from the mountain of chips I built to this point. The dealer puts the extra card face down on top of my already beautiful ace king. And the guy goes, wait, what are you doing, man? Are you crazy? He now decides to tell me this was all the money he had. I guess that's all he brought to the casino. I guess he was pulling a me of roulette in 2010, just going all in on one hand. Both my table mates are cussing and shaking their heads, but the moment of truth, the dealer's turn. She used her 4 up card to scoop the card of death, a nasty 7. Now the guy just stands up out of his chair. He's ready to walk off in rage or to take a swing at me. In this town, I couldn't be sure. So, of course, the drawn card, what else would it be? The dealer makes her classic 21 to destroy everyone. But wait, we were all so in shock from what just happened that we forgot about the face down card on my soft 21. Maybe I'd be able to salvage some chips, right? From this disastrous run out. The dealer revealed that I murdered my unbeatable 21 with a 4. and to make matters worse, the guy was screaming that 4 would have brought the dealer's total to 15 before busting with the 10. He was absolutely livid, and he goes, what the fuck are you doing, man? Why would you split faces? Why would you double a blackjack? That was all the money I had. Give me my fucking money back. Of course, I did not give him any of his money back. I wasn't torn from the ludicrous amount of money. I just lost one round. I said I played it perfectly and I made all the right decisions. If variance is the price I pay for comedy gold like this, then sign me up for life. So that's just another memorable one. But that's the best part about what we do, right, guys? The stories.
Did they leave immediately right after that?
Yeah, after that guy definitely stormed off, and I kept playing, but I don't remember exactly what happened with the girl. I'm pretty sure she took off soon afterwards. But yeah, that was funny.
What was the dealer's reaction after all that?
She was just like, I have, the tip. I've never seen something like that before. Doubling your double. They kept calling it doubling a blackjack. But yeah, it's just, the reactions I get are it's just gold. And to me, the only thing I worry about is like my save. What if this guy did take a swing? I mean, it's not impossible to happen in a casino, but overall, like this, it just fits. That's the best part about blackjack. It just fits my personality. So, I can't speak for you guys, but I'm sure it does for you too. It fits. You enjoy it and you thrive in this kind of an environment, right?
I had the same situation where they kept calling, like, you want to double a blackjack? And I was like, well, are you going to pay me 3-2 on it? If you're going to pay me 3-2 on it, I won't double it.
Exactly.
They're like, no, we don't pay. I'm like, then it's not a blackjack. It's an 11.
Yeah. I've done a few of those in my life. Not sure what the overall result is, but it's super fun to do that deviation.
Yeah, we should probably explain for the listeners who don't know what we're talking about. We're not talking about doubling a natural blackjack where you would get paid 3-2. So we're talking about only when you're splitting tens. Then if you get an ace on the 10, then there's a count where you're able to double it as if it's an 11. And so you guys can go to the expanded deviation chart on the website, and then that'll show you all the numbers you need if you did run into that situation that you wanted to do that. So against a dealer 4, 5, and 6, then you would double the ace 10 at a 10, 8, and a 7.
Yes, and I mean, leaving your soft 21, you're still in a good situation. But if you want even higher EV, make the move at the right count. And that's where we get our edge. So, but and yeah, do not double your blackjacks. Please do not do that.
Along those lines, what tools and resources kind of have helped you the most in improving your blackjack skills, but not just your hard skills, like not just the counting element? What has helped you in like your soft skills as well?
Yeah, so they're going to think that you guys pay me to promote BJA, but this membership truly has everything you need. Like for the technical part, right? It has absolutely everything. The training suite is unbelievable, and yeah, just being able, like, I can't believe how many tools there are that you can test out. You can do deviation drills, running. Everything is so for learning. You could learn to be a winning player strictly from just blackjack. You don't have to read books or anything. I mean, reading books is great, but Blackjack Apprenticeship has everything that I needed to build the technical skills and what I do. And the soft skills and the art of it really is a mixture of my personality to begin with, and definitely just the experience over time. Like I said, I have 1,600 plus hours of total career play and about 1,000 of full time. So that really is a lot of time spent sitting in a casino and becoming more automatic with the technical stuff and being able to just act more natural in a casino, being able to have conversations while keeping the running count and doing all the calculations in your head and make sure you're betting right. So I am not sure if it's something that can be taught, honestly. So for some people, I've said it before, you can be the best card counter on paper, like you can be the most skilled technically, but if the personality and your attitude doesn't jive with what we do, it's not going to work out. You're either it's not going to work out or you're just not going to enjoy it. You're going to hate it. It's a mixture of my personality and just a bunch of experience.
You mentioned the card counter app, Card Counter Lite. Did you use any other tools or anything like that?
I know I had the BJA Trainer Pro, I think it's called. Yeah, just the normal one there. I think whatever it cost at $2.99 that app. But that's all. That beginning of my training, that's what I did. Before I didn't even buy any decks yet, like some physical cards and to deal to myself. That's what I ended up doing later on. But at the beginning, it was Card Counter Lite, and just obviously when I got the membership, I was just all day, several hours a day, just practicing on the training suite there.
Nice.
Trying to pull it up.
Welcome to Card Counter.
That's it.
Yeah. I used that one too years ago, starting off. But so that's 1,600 hours. How many years is that?
Looks like the first 600 of all my part-time hours is from the very beginning. So I guess July 2020. I remember, 4th of July 2020 was my very first session at Paris. So we'll never forget that. Sat at an 8-deck table, I don't remember, $25. But that was my very first session, July 2020. So then the 600 hours spanned from July 2020 to July 2022. And it was the year of 2022 was actually my fewest hours ever in my card counting career because I was working full time. I can't be going on trips all the time. I have a full-time job. So, I could take a few weeks, whatever. I think I had 3 weeks of vacation time. I would try to use it as the best I can. But 2022 was definitely the least hours. But yeah, so 2020, 2021, so 2 years of 600 hours. And then I started full-time at the end of May of last year, and I've accumulated 1,020 hours. So tons of hours with higher EV, bigger bet spread. It's been great.
It's always so nice to get a reminder that people are still out there beating it successfully and not just for like a little bit of money. You can share whatever you're comfortable with, but I know from your last post, you must be up well over probably $250,000 almost. So
that's exactly it. My career Blackjack results is $250,000. So that's including my part-time and stuff. So total hours in full time when I started on May 24th, 2023 is 210,000. It's a grind. It looks like a great, like wage or salary on paper, but hey, that's not factoring in Blackjack, all the expenses that I have, right? And that's just total gross winnings from the tables, 210,000. And I'm supporting a family with this, right? So it's a grind. It's a lot of work, but it's definitely doable. Definitely do it. And I am in databases. I can guarantee that all you listeners out there, I have entries and my ID is flagged everywhere, but I'm still able to play. Mostly unrated, I try. But when I do play rated, I'm still able to play. So I guess, like SD1 says, casinos are stupid.
That's a good way to end it here. All right, everyone, casinos are stupid. Thank you so much for sharing your story and being really open about your stats and results. It's good for people to hear some like real solid concrete numbers because when you're signing up for the website, it's just sort of like if we put a number out there, it's like, oh, what you're expected to make or estimates. It's not really a reliable way to send that message. But thank you for sharing all that.
Absolutely. It's been an absolute blast talking to you guys and everything you've built here. Thank you for being the pros on the site, all the wisdom you share. This is really a fun journey, and I don't see an end in sight for me.
All right, we'll have you back on for the $1 Million podcast.
Yeah,
yes, I'll be there one day. I'll be there one day for sure. Go Flames, go!
If you want to learn more about blackjack and card counting, visit blackjackapprenticeship.com or go to the YouTube channel Blackjack Apprenticeship.